Hey, Kliq This fans, want to get closer to the show than ever? Join Kliq This TV. Kliq This TV offers early commercial-free access to wrestling's hottest podcast, plus live audience tapings of their show every friggin' week, and your chance to participate with Kevin and Sean in the monthly Nash and Friends watch-along show. Head to KliqThisTV.com now and get inside the show that's just too sweet.
The following podcast contains mature language and adult discussions.
All right, another week. We wanted the music brought down. I think this is the most it's been brought down.
Yeah, that's
so
after that the pregame Valium that we just took. Jesus, we go right into no music, into all right.
All right, Kliq This.
Let me take it from here. We're doing another one of these next week, Sean. Thanks, everybody. We're out of time.
For those of you that don't, who are not members of the KliqThisTV.com, we do a little pre-show action here for the folks that are part of our live audience, the subscribers to Kliq This TV. And I'm looking at the clock. Today was about 40 minutes of restless banter.
But more wrestling than we've talked, and probably the last five episodes combined.
That's absolutely true. We even went to Women of Wrestling. We went to WOW for some of this. Went through the roster there. We were excited to see. I really wanted to open with George C. Scott though, because just the drawing power of a George C. Scott episode would lead me to do so. But you know what? As I joke, it's still outdrawing Joe Biden's doppelganger episode.
The all-time just every time I go through and see that, I just cringe.
That's the yardstick that we're use for if we ever not feeling it and we get off the air, get into the locker room, we look at each other and we go, wasn't a doppelganger.
Yeah, it wasn't a doppelganger. Didn't doppelgang it. But you know why? Because we couldn't say assassin. But then today they had to go kill some dude in Provo that was wanting to kill Biden.
Oh, I haven't.
The FBI. Some whack job in a picture with a ghillie suit, saying he was going to kill Biden, and they have been watching the guy for months. I guess this is like the ongoing. And I know the FBI is weaponized, but this cat definitely fucking just It wasn't long for the world. He said he was going to kill Biden, Harris, and then he was going to go to New York and kill the black DA that's pushing the Stormy Daniels case.
He's got to get more in tune to what's going on, because he would have killed some poor actor that's been playing Biden for the last couple of years.
I don't get it.
What would that have solved? We all
know probably about as much
as
the state of Ohio trying to get a little special election to see if they could scramble up Roe versus Wade, but that it was for the people that are pro-choice. It was vote no to vote yes in November. So that was the way that you had to figure this. So it's one of those things that, when it comes down to it, it's the people that think that Biden is not Biden. You can't have no means yes. So they all probably fucked up. They just all went, well, I don't know what are we supposed to do?
Was this a last-minute referendum that they...
They've been pulling some shit in Ohio. This is...
Feedback from last week. Mets fan 1975 says, both Scott and Brando turned down Oscars. Now, I did look this up, and George C. Scott didn't send the Native American woman to the ring to reject the Oscar. However, he did refuse the Patton Oscar just because he said it was against his principles, the award show. And I kind of like this about him. He said, here's the quote. Where's the quote here? He says, he called the Oscars a, quote, 2-hour meat parade, a public display with contrived suspense for economic reasons. He goes on to say that he respectfully requests that you withdraw my name from the list of nominees. My request is in no way intended to denigrate my colleagues. Just felt that no one performance can be gauged as best over another. And this is, of course, true. In any award show, our artistic award show.
To me, it's like bodybuilding. You know, like bodybuilding is absolutely. I might look at it and see 10 bodybuilders on a stage, and I would have
George C. Scott up there. Yeah,
but that was the whole thing to me. Is what I really looked into after we had the episode, and finding out that Coppola went to George C. Scott first to play Brando's as Corleone. He went to George C. Scott. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, no, didn't.
Yeah, and it was so they wanted George C. Scott, and then it was Jeff Bridges was going to play Michael.
I know they read. What did they read? They read before Pacino. They read James Caan, I think, for that part. And they were very resistant to Pacino early on. I do remember hearing that. Great series, limited series called The Offer on, I'm going to say Paramount, maybe I'm wrong, about the making of The Godfather and Coppola's journey and the producer's journey. The very good show. It's called The Offer, if you want to.
Not to be mistaken with the Apocalypse Now making of with Coppola and Brando.
Hearts of Darkness.
Yes.
Brilliant. That's a documentary. That's actual actual footage about it. I'm going to go on record now, and I've always said this since film school, better than Apocalypse Now is the making of Apocalypse Now. Hearts of Darkness, better than the actual finished film. More authentic drama. In that, a brutal production.
Oh,
Can you imagine having been in the jungle for 3 years making that fucking movie?
No.
Good Lord.
And Brando plays a crazy guy. I bet you that was a stretch of 3 years, right?
It's the best thing. He sends the script to Brando. They finally agree. Brando's going to come in. He's going to do 3 weeks, $1 million a week. This is like a Nash deal. But the first week, he then says he'll be doing nothing but talking. No filming. Nothing but talking to Coppola about the character of Kurtz. He's given one instruction. Come in very fit. Because when we find you in the jungle, Kurtz has to have the presence of the general, who's now moved to the. Brando walks in, so massively overweight and with a shaved head, and guess what? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You've committed to the 3 million. 1 week of talking, for Christ's sake. He comes in, and it's very clear, Coppola says this in the documentary, within 5 minutes of talking to Brando, he has not even read the book, the Joseph Conrad Heart of Darkness. So Hopefully, I'm making this as intriguing as it should be for those of you who haven't seen the documentary. Definitely go see it. Coppola's wife was running a camera throughout the production and filming all this, so she has incredible footage.
Double J, Jeff Jarrett, here with a few of my pals to tell you about the total nonstop savings happening over at SaveWithConrad.com.
My name is Chance Ellis, and I'm a top guy from Chalmette, Louisiana. Well, after months, actually years at the time of listening to the podcast, I guess I heard the marketing efforts, and I decided to pick up the phone and give them a call and see if they can help me. I wanted to see if I can lower my term and payments. I got to work with Mr. Larry. It was very, very convenient. He was always there to answer my calls. He would work with me via text, email, just kind of at my own convenience. So it was actually really nice. I got to keep my monthly payment just about the same. However, we cut down 10 years on the life of the whole mortgage, and I believe it was right around $200,000. So I saved a whole lot. So I'm top guy Chance Ellis. I've saved 10 years off the life of my mortgage and about $200,000. Thanks to SaveWithConrad.com.
In my world, it doesn't get any better than 5 stars. Find out how much money Conrad and his team can save you by strutting over to SaveWithConrad.com. So right now, strut on over to SaveWithConrad.com.
NMLS number 65084, equal housing lender. Woo!
Mud Show Mark, is Dalton Castle not a babyface, effeminate character? Does he present masculinity like traditional society? He is a babyface over to boot. Fans love him, and he is flamboyant and has the boys, his man servants. It's already being done well by him. They're absolutely right. Now, we talked last week. I brought up Exotic Adrian Street, and I was saying, does he have to be a heel today? With the effeminate character that hints at homosexuality, are they the default heel like they used to be? And we were wondering if today it could be done and the person could be over. So upon getting that, I was like, God damn. And I went and I looked, make sure I'd seen enough. And he is absolutely doing it. Now, it's of course very tongue-in-cheek, and it's a comical over. He's over as a comical baby face. You know, he's not Steve Austin over. But you're right. You can do who's that? Mud Show Mark, for God's sakes, what a name. I think you could do that. Kev, what do you think when you see that? Over? Gotta be, right?
I haven't seen the gig.
Had his time in Ring of Honor first, and then AEW. So I do retract. It is, and he's very funny. I watched some interviews, and he's very quick on his feet. David,
I think RJ City's is a talent, but they just nobody's ever used him. But he's,
RJ.
Yeah, RJ City. RJ's a Canadian, but he does like Coffee in My Underpants with RJ and a couple other things.
Right.
But he's
he is.
I just think he's like, he and I could do it. He and I could do a half hour, just absolutely, just with no prep whatsoever.
I know the feeling. David 2619. The chemistry between these two is starting to fade. He's referring to me and you. Just starting, though. So we have, depending on how long.
Yeah, so
it takes for us to deplete completely.
Well, no, but because most relationships, are absolutely nothing like the stock market.
We're down a point today.
Yeah, we were down a point last week.
We were down a point last week's episode. Sorry, listen, David, we'll try to cuddle, nuzzle a little more on air here for you.
So nobody knows this, but so Sean, as you can see, is not. I think Sean's in Sinatra's crib during the Rat Pack day right now, doing his podcast tonight. But so Sean is down in Florida. I'm not gonna say where he's at because I don't want the same guy, the same group that was trying to kill Biden to get my partner.
Right.
But
What
so
would
he's in Florida, and he was close enough, and so we decided we would have dinner and let the wives meet, and so that was Sunday night. We went to Hyde Park in Daytona Beach, and so I swear that it doesn't matter where I go on this planet. If I was supposed to be one of the astronauts to go up on this Artemis, it would explode. That's just the story of my life. And so we get in there, and the guy comes over, the waiter, and he tells us the specials. We have Wagyu this and fucking yada yada yada. He goes on and on and on and on and on. Then I said to him, I said, so both Sean's wife and my wife get the Wagyu filet. Sean, I think you followed.
I did.
And then I said, I've always been a New York strip guy. So I said, which one of the strips, would you, suggest? He goes, well, neither. We don't have any. I said, you don't have any strips? I said, we just don't have any in stock. So then I said, fuck. So then, did you and I ended up getting the 12-ounce bone in,
but only after.
So yeah, so the guy leaves and comes back, and basically
so we're all with Wagyu now. We've all gone with the Wagyu beef.
We all went Wagyu fillets, 8 ounce, and he comes back and he goes, we don't have that either. Like okay, well, what the fuck do
Nash goes. Guess it's Golden Corral. Like, all right, no problem. All right, so we all do our substitutes, and I did you do the bone-in fillet?
No, remember I said I said just give me some time. Remember I sent him away.
Oh yes, you refused. This is so funny. This is what it's like. This is my wife's introduction to Kevin. Okay, my business. She doesn't know wrestling. She's never seen wrestling really, so she doesn't know. She just knows he's my partner, and she hears what I go through all the time. So she knows the Nash thing that I've described. And so it begins very early when the first disappointment comes and there's no Wagyu. So I go, all right. I said, I'll do the bone-in filet. I was considering. I forgot Tamara ordered. I think she got just the regular filet also. So a petite filet, and then Nicole gets it. And so then he turns to Kevin with the pad. He's like, Kev's like, I need to think about this. So he's like, okay, so I'll put in everything else. And I was like, so he walks away, and Nash goes, if I ordered it when he wanted me to, the steak would have been overcooked. By forcing him to wait, and they put everyone else's on the grill, mine will be, Kevin gets it rare, or deep rare. Rare plus, I think you can call it.
Yeah.
He said, now I know it will not be overcooked. So everything's a negotiation. The fucking steak is a negotiation with the goddamn waiter. It wasn't his fucking fault.
I said, I know you don't order the fucking the meat here.
You did say that, right?
I did say that.
But listen, to a credit to the kitchen, lobster arrives, courtesy of the chef who no doubt heard your disappointment. Yes, some fried lobster bits, but served in the tail. Very, very, very nicely done. So
then Jalen Rose, who was our waiter, decided
that once was uncanny.
Yeah, decided that he was gonna fucking tag out to my 3rd grade fucking teacher, Miss Old Danny.
She was very sweet,
bitch.
Very sweet.
She was fucking rotten.
So
she was that fucking condescending. Yeah.
So so all the food comes. So the steaks come. Kevin's has a substance on it. Ours is just the steak. Kevin's was it butter? A sizzling butter they put on it?
Nothing I ordered.
No. So they go to put it down in front of them. Like, he goes, "What's on the steak?" Like, "Oh, it's the whatever butter. We like to put that on."
Chef's cum.
Is it okay? Kevin goes, "No." They're like, "Oh, okay, we'll take it right back now. We'll clean it off."
I said, rinse it. I said, don't.
You did say rinse it.
I said,
And
just
they
rinse
did.
it the fuck off. Put it on another plate.
He did.
It's like, but like, so I'm eating. I'm now thrown into a steak I don't want. It's got more saturated fat, and they're gonna top it with some kind of fucking drizzled butter shit to add my fucking so my cardiologist will fucking come in and fucking smack me for even thinking about putting that on my body.
So now now everyone I'm sure is very upset that Mr. Nash is not happy with his meal. So they clean the butter off, they bring it out, they put it down in front of him. And at one point, the woman, the aforementioned grammar school teacher, is putting that plate down, and Kev looks down and goes, "This is the worst experience I've ever had here." She goes, "What can I do to change that?" I said, "You should just leave the table right now, Missy." So my wife is amused by this. She's leaning over to Kevin, and she's going, "Just stop. Just eat the steak. It's fine. Go ahead. Just eat the steak. Stop the whole thing." And so Kevin chuckles. Kevin knows he's, it's a bit of a thing. It's a bit of the Nash thing. So you could turn off the Nash thing a little bit and enjoy. And the steak was very good, was it not? I remember commenting on how good the cut was.
Yeah, because it fucking was rare. It wasn't overcooked.
Right. Because you waited.
Right.
You waited to order.
My plan was beautiful.
Perfectly executed.
Just like
wait till I get to
Trump's letter to the fucking to Kim. It was a fucking perfect letter.
So now there's a huge table beside us of folks who have come in from clearly spending a raucous time in Daytona. A large family, maybe 10 people, and they're ranging. They're ranging in age from maybe the grandparents are there, maybe the parents are there, some brothers and sisters. Ball caps on in the steakhouse. I think you get that in Daytona sometimes. What can you do?
Yeah, well, I mean, you get it anytime that the claim to fame is three of the fucking people at the table were extras in Deliverance.
I think at one point you turned to the table, you said, "Got Dale Earnhardt's family behind me over here." So the girl, the girl, she's probably maybe in her 30s. She keeps turning around to look. So, people know Kevin, so they turn and they look. Now, Kevin's back is to them, so they can't really see his face, but they can see his wife. So they keep turning to look at his wife, who at one point made eye contact with the girl, smiled. And so my wife leans over. She goes, does this happen all the time? And she's like, "Hey, you get used to it. What are you going to do?" So the girl goes to go to the bathroom. She slides her chair out and crashes into Kevin.
No, she slung her chair.
This is my wife saying the same thing to me. I'm like, she bumped the chair. My wife's going,
no,
she did it to get Kevin's attention.
She railed my back of my. It was to the point where fucking I threw an elbow to the back of her chair.
He did. He acted like he got cross-checked into the boards in the corner. So he elbows the chair. She turns around and has her interaction. I don't remember what she said. "I'm sorry. Please don't be offended."
She said, "Oh, did I hit you?" I said, "Fuck, are you kidding me? You hit me? Fuck, I'm getting ready to call my fucking my attorney.
Morgan and Morgan.
Fuck, call Michael Politis, my attorney, get him on you. Jesus Christ."
And my wife goes, "She got it." I said, "What?" She goes, "She wanted an interaction with Kevin, so she did the fucking chair thing." I'm like, you're a conspiracy theorist. You're worse than Kevin. The two of you are going to start on the fucking World Trade Center shit. And they did. But I said, "You got to be kidding me." She's like, "I saw her looking. She wanted an interaction with him." I said, "All right, what are you going to do?" So by now, Kevin's displeasure probably has spread not only through the kitchen but through the corporate office, because a plate of carpaccio has been brought out, and then a Bananas Foster production that we did not order for dessert. The kitchen insisted be brought to Mr. Nash's table. Fine. So now the check.
That's how bad they fucked up. They knew.
So the check.
We're drinking $200 bottles of wine, for God's sake. It's like, fuck, man.
Yeah, there were a couple of $220 bottles of wine,
Yeah.
mind you. So the check comes. And Kevin's organizing the payment of the check. Now, the payment is going to happen in cash. So Kevin is counting out. It's like the scene in Scarface when they're counting out the millions of dollars and they have the stacks, and he's got stacks. It's sorted a certain way. I didn't tap into the OCD, but however he was comfortable with it, needed to be sorted that way. So he's got one side of the check fold with the money, and he's got the tip amount counted out on the other side. He goes, "Hey." So now suddenly I'm sitting at the table with Scott and Kevin and Sean. He goes, "Hey, after this fucking meal, I counted out the exact amount of the bill. I say we turn it in and just wait with no tip, with the tip withheld, and wait to see what happens." Now I'm like, no. He said, the girl bumping the chair and 5 waiters apologize. I said, no, please, just let's get out of here. Let's just pay the fucking thing. Kevin goes, okay. He pulls out a single and puts it. I said, you better put that fucking tip back in there. And he did. But for a minute there,
They got a 30% tip.
For a minute there, it was rough. But a lovely night out.
It would have been such a great story if we had just sent back the exact amount.
I didn't have the stomach for it. I couldn't at that point.
You know what? Number one, I called and begged them, please put us in a booth, put us in an ocean booth. And they put us in a table in the middle of the room where everything was jammed up. It doesn't work. Tamara's tiny. She could have been against and had the ocean side. We would have been on the outside. We wouldn't have got bumped. We wouldn't have got fucked with. They everything they did, they fucked up from the minute we walked in. And that it's like everybody. I didn't see any locals in there. And this is what these assholes forget. It's summertime. Come fucking January, February, March, I'm the only motherfucker that'll be in there still fucking spending a grand plus for a fucking dinner. Like when like you take care of your fucking locals, you dumb fucks. But no, they just set us out in the middle like we're fucking. And I fucking had a shirt with a fucking collar on. Jesus, I mean,
a rare occasion. It's showing the establishment some respect, for God's sake.
I would did that for your wife. They want your
Much
wife
appreciated.
They want to fucking show up in a fucking Under Armour.
I want to show where you are. Well, that kind of leads.
I sure was. I wish you wore this outfit right here. I could have sat at that table behind us.
Next Tuesday, we're going out. We'll do something.
Motherfucker.
Richard Dalloway. What's that?
We're going out. We're going out your neck of the woods next week.
Yeah, nice place. Richard Dalloway, by the way, playing off this, says, any chance of a one-off Kliq This, where the wives talk about living with you guys and what it's like?
No.
Reckon Mrs. Nash can do one all by herself.
Reckon she would fucking not be interested at all.
Michael Demanda, excuse me. Nash and Oliver in the morning.
I guarantee you, anybody that's been waterboarded for 35 years does not want to talk about it.
She just hopes each morning will be better.
She just living with me is not exactly fucking. At least once a week, my wife will look at me and she goes, "You're not mad at me, are you?" I'm like, "No, I'm never mad at you. I'm mad at fucking the world. This, and this. You're always like I'm never mad at you. It's these other motherfuckers.
Michael Demanda, Nash and Oliver in the morning, he says, which kind of leads into Food for Thought, who said, that'd be something if Nash and Oliver had a 1 hour a morning show for the ride. Certainly straighten out those chartable ratings if we were on 5 days a week. But
because you'd be getting me before I went to bed, so it'd be perfect.
Exactly. Good 6 to 7. We'll do morning drive, 1 hour a day. Oh, good Lord. Duck Life 420. Every Monday, I get my chores done, roll up some fine marijuana, and get ready to listen to my favorite podcast on YouTube. Kliq This with my man, Big Sexy Kevin Nash and Sean Oliver, the guardrail of podcasting. Thanks for the show, gentlemen. I always enjoy listening. I still need some jackknife kush here in Illinois. I love to smoke the good reefer. Anything in Illinois? Anything coming to Illinois from the jackknife folk?
I don't even know if they're recreational there.
Mr. Green, Brando calling someone else out for worshiping at the altar of their own narcissism is pretty damn rich, as if that guy wasn't way up his own ass. That was a reference to Burt Reynolds, who Brando was not a fan of. He worships at the altar of his own narcissism.
Yeah, I mean, I thought fucking Burt Reynolds was a sweetheart.
Yeah. No, he had a personal issue with the use of a Native American boy in an ad. It later came out in that discussion.
No, we did. Yeah, we talked about that. But I mean, just my personal being around him for 100 days was pretty spectacular.
Kevin, it's hot down here. It's hot. It's hot on top of hot. I've been down here when it's hot. It's hot, and the sun is hot, and the humidity is so stifling, and the humidity is hot. The air is hot, and the sun is hot. Everything's goddamn hot. I stayed in the pool for about 4 hours today because I could not deal with not being in it. I would have either been here in the hotel room or in the pool. There was no option. The Disney parks were not being hit today. It's brutal.
I mean, fuck. That's why, I mean, if you live in Minneapolis, you don't say January 19th, jeez, it's fucking freezing up here. It's fucking freezing. It's freezing. Fuck, it's freezing. I was outside. It was minus fucking 35. Wind chill. It's cold.
Something's going on. This is a different kind of hot. Look all over the map. What the hell's going on?
Well, you've got to be fucking. You're on fire.
I am on fire. That's why I had to sit in the pool.
You get burned up, man. Look at your forehead.
I know. I'm.
You gotta fucking.
Today isn't an error. I told the guys before the show that last week the camera, I thought that the balance was a little off on my color.
No, you look like you're fucking the Human Torch getting ready to flame on over there.
What was his name? Firestorm, the guy whose head was on fire.
The Ghost Rider.
The Heat Miser.
Ghost Rider. One of Nicolas Cage's
Yes, that's right. Across the country, I'm going to give you some statistics now. What the hell's going on across the country? Lafayette, Louisiana, reached 100 degrees or higher on 9 consecutive days, surpassing a previous streak of 7 days in 2000. 100 degrees or higher, 9 consecutive days. Baton Rouge, same thing, 10 straight days. Austin, Texas, 100 degrees or higher on 31 consecutive days. Unbelievable.
You're not even go over fucking. You go to that fucking. Go to the Valley of the Sun, Phoenix. Woo!
That's a dry heat. Is there anything to that?
Yeah,
that they say
it's like sticking your head in the oven's a dry heat too. Hair dryer's a dry heat. Put that in your fucking mouth.
Exactly. New Orleans, 100 degrees or higher.
New Orleans, that's a completely different fucking. There's something about maybe it's because it's below sea level. Something with that humidity, man. Like late at night. Oh, if you fucking make the mistake of fucking drinking too early and getting fucked up and being down on Bourbon Street and all those fucking yahoos, and that's one of those deals, man. That when once you get your AARP card, stay the fuck off Bourbon Street. That's just it. You're done. You're just going to make yourself miserable.
Probably should stay off Bourbon Street anyway, right? Whether you're in your
When you're
50s,
a kid,
60s,
you know. Yeah, I mean, when you're a kid, I mean, all that shit's fucking fun. You're bulletproof. Right. Now it's just like, I don't want to do anything outside.
You mentioned Phoenix. 116 on Saturday. 114 Sunday.
I remember when we lived out there, and when we first moved out there, we had to get the house didn't have appliances. So we went to Best Buy, or maybe it was a Circuit City. One of those two. Maybe we went to both. All I do remember is parking about 100 yards from the actual, you know, entrance, and the heat coming off the asphalt. I felt like it was like my it's like a Gita, like somebody's going to start cutting the lamb off my leg and putting it on a fucking pita. I was like, Jesus, man, it was so fucking. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what have we gotten ourselves into? And then, so the first week goes by, and I go on the road, and I come home, and Tamara says, you know, trash goes out on the curb tonight. And we lived in a gated community. So, and I just remember taking the heat, and it was like the driveway was, because we had like 3 acres or whatever it was. The driveway was a fucking walk. It was kind of, and I brought in a bunch of dirt, so we had topography. So down was fine, but walking back up to the house, it was like, fuck, it was so fucking hot. And I sat down in the TV room.
You brought in some dirt. I have to back you up. I'm not a landscaper. You brought in some dirt for topography.
Right.
What does that mean?
So when you like most of the gated communities out there, you can't put anything that's not indigenous. Like like for us, we were allowed 800 square feet of grass for our dogs. So that was, and that had to be in the back. Your back couldn't be in the front. So what I did was, I went around the neighborhood, and we were there was probably 7 or 8 houses that had already been built. And I stood on my lot and I looked, I'm just like, and in the background is Camelback. And you can almost see through this crack in Camelback because we're elevated where we are. So I said, fuck it, man, we'll bring some dirt in, some hooving those big ass dump trucks. And what I did was I built like a pad. So I probably brought in 20 feet taller of dirt. And then I built a retaining wall on the back of the house, and then put the porch there, and then put stairs going down. So as you sat up on the porch, the pool was down, probably 12, 15 feet from the house. And then I ran the retaining wall all the way up on both sides. And then I put a cinder block wall that was 6 feet in between my house and my neighbor's house. And then out about maybe 250, 300 feet, I put a 3-foot cinder block wall, and then put a 4-foot spike one so you could see through it, but the coyotes couldn't get on that piece of property. So, but in the front we had we bought boulders and everything else. So there was the land. It just because if you're going to spend cash, like when I remember when we sold that house, a neurosurgeon bought it, and he asked, as soon as he walked on that piece of property, he asked the realtor, he goes, "Athlete own this?" And she said, "Why?" He goes, "An athlete owned this, right?" And he says, He says, because the house is so big. He said the doorways are like 9-10 feet.
Oh,
Like the hallways were like triple wide.
so you could fit through them. Yeah.
But it was like we built like a 6,000 square foot ranch with like 20-foot ceilings, and I really did the math on that when I fucking decided to, run the air conditioning. And people would come. It'd be 105 degrees outside. You'd walk into my house and have that bit set at 70. People would have a stroke. They'd walk in like, oh fuck, what do you have your house at? Like,
Could you
70,
maintain
man.
it? You could maintain it that cool?
Yeah, well, you want to fucking write that fucking that electric check.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, that's an accomplishment. Like 40, 50 degrees lower, 30 degrees lower. That's an accomplishment.
Yeah, but what the thing is out there is they build everything stucco, and we built block. So we had block, and then we really put a lot of insulation in, and we sprayed this. I mean, people build cheap as fuck out there. And they'll build 3-4 feet of block, and then above that it's just framing, chicken wire, and stucco. Very minimal. Very minimal.
The facing on the
insulation. They build like shitty houses.
Did anyone on the crew catch the Marty Jannetty Dark Side of the Ring? Which just aired. I have to watch that. Looking at it a little bit.
Can I say something before?
Unrelated to Marty Jannetty?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So we all of us were talking earlier before we started the show. So Wesley, Dom, and Steve, and you and I don't think you've watched Heels yet, have you?
I haven't.
Okay, so they had this whole flashback thing, which me and Wesley both decided was the fucking drizzling shits. But in this, they've decided they're going to have the dad commit suicide, and they're going to have a funeral for him. And I've said this since the first day I got into the wrestling business. Why in the fuck, when a professional wrestler dies, do they ring the bell 10 times? Because that's for a boxer. When he can't answer the 10 count, he's counted out. When you get beat in professional wrestling, it's a 3 count. If you can't answer the 3 count, that's what. So why wouldn't you do a bell with a 20-second intermission, bell, 20-second intermission, third bell? Why is it not 3 bells? Why is it 10? There's nothing. Because they do.
Well, if you get counted out of the ring, that's 10.
Yeah, but that doesn't.
You're out of the ring. You're dead. You're out of the ring.
It's not the same as it's not the same. It's because if that was a fact, that how many name a count out that you've seen in your life that was actually a 10-second count
an actual
out.
10 seconds.
Yeah. I mean,
well, it's a work 10. We can work the bell.
Yeah. No, it's that's what I mean. So it's like it's too bogus.
How about a double disqualification? Pull out a foreign object, throw some salt. There's a lot of things they could do.
Yeah, but all you do is you need a manager to draw the ref on the 9 count, and it's all over. You start all over again. That'd
be great. In the center of the ring, on the ninth bell ring, Freddie Blassie runs into the fucking ring and disturbs the entire ceremony.
The entire ceremony. They gotta start over.
So, did you ever get an answer to this quest?
No.
Okay. Well, let's see what
Wesley says. The strangest things trigger Kev.
Oh, you should see him when there's butter on the steak. Holy shit! You thought the 10 count was bad. Well, maybe our fans can get on that. I'm sure somebody can find an answer. Meltzer, maybe.
Yeah, who started that shit? I don't get it. It doesn't make sense.
Jeff, you familiar with the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, RICO?
Yes.
It states that if a group of people are working toward a common criminal goal, and the commission of that crime by an underling, not necessarily by the hand of the one above them who might have been calling for it, you are able to actually charge all involved, whether your hand was involved with that or not. Typically used to combat organized crime. I want to say 70s maybe this came along, 70s, maybe early 80s.
It was huge. They have I don't know if it's called the RICO Act, but I know they have the same thing in Canada because that's how they ended up taking care of in Montreal the bikers and then the mob. So if you were a member of an organized crime family or a member of a bikers group, if a biker in that just say he was an outlaw and he committed a crime, then everybody in the outlaws could be charged with that crime.
Right. If you're all working toward that goal. So if
Right.
Kevin has an issue with the steak, and I go ahead and I act on his behalf and do something criminally to avenge the flawed outing at the steakhouse, Kevin, as my superior, could be charged with that as well. So basically, follows the crime all the way up to the top of the pyramid, whether you're talking about...
But there is no crime if you don't tip.
Right, and the dollar would have been sufficient. Gotti, Vincent the Chin Gigante of the Genovese, many guys were subject to and convicted by RICO after the failure to ever pin anything on a mob boss. They're never going to do shit. When they're on the top of the food chain, they're not going to do shit with their own gun in their own hand. But RICO changed it and allowed criminal activity below them, if they could prove it was to serve the benefit of their knowing superior, they could be charged with it also.
Have you been watching a lot of the coverage on with Trump's lawyers on television?
Well, as it relates to Georgia, are we talking about? Because that's why I was bringing up RICO.
Yeah, no, I know.
Oh, they're all over the place. Anyone that's serving as an attorney in any capacity is talking on every talk show.
Well, I'm talking about Trump's lead. These are his lead.
Yes.
Defense guys.
Yeah. And they were told not to talk by one of the judges.
But their whole thing is it's his First Amendment right to be able to speak on all these different things.
Well, that's of course not true.
Well, of course. I mean, it's nobody has the First Amendment right doesn't give you the right to ask somebody to find 11,875. I just don't see it when that came out. I said, there's a lot of things you can backtrack, but asking for one more vote than you got beat by to the person that's in charge of that, I don't see how how you walk that back.
Yeah.
Kidding?
Criminal activity isn't free speech, of course.
No.
And so it will be interesting to see if RICO is used against a politician for the first time. First time that I know of. Maybe it's been used somewhere else, but I haven't heard of it.
I can't think of it.
I can't either.
My wife brought that up to me today, and then we talked about it, and then it was on the second page of Wall Street Journal.
I caught it on Newsweek, the Newsweek website, but it's everywhere. It's if you Google it today, Trump RICO, they're expecting possibly the DA Willis from Georgia could announce as early as the 15th of this month if this is going to happen. Interesting. We will keep
It puts a different. I mean, I don't think that people realize that Donald Trump has basically been arrested 3 times and is on parole on 3 separate charges, soon to be 4. I mean, I don't think that people think of an indictment as the same. It's like, they're so live PD, you got to get slung down and,
It's the same as being brought in on a dope charge at night, seeing the judge the next day, read your
Yep.
charges, and you plead guilty or not guilty, and you're given a court date.
Yep. But my whole thing is this. So Trump hasn't been forced to take any mugshots.
They said because he was a recognizable enough figure.
Or are you going to tell me fucking like Johnny Depp or all these, fucking Nick Nolte? Like, you going to tell me all those, like, nobody knew who the fuck Michael Jackson was?
Yeah, good point.
I think that's bullshit.
I'd have done it anyway. Fuck.
Huh?
I would have done it anyway. 3 times.
Fuck, man.
4 next month.
I would
week.
fucking, if you're going to play the game, man, you got to play the game.
Yep.
And they're saying that, and then he has the audacity to act like he's being singled out, and he's getting fucking special treatment. You're not. There should be 3 mug shots of you right now that I can look at, because I goddamn know that if you go Google my ass for mug shots, you'll find plenty. And I look the same in every one of the motherfuckers.
No convictions. Wasn't that your quote?
That's right. Never convicted.
If you are not a member of Kliq This TV, this would be a fine time to do so. KliqThisTV.com. Another Nash and Friends coming up in a couple of weeks. We'll make that announcement next week. Just go to KliqThisTV.com. You can check out our previous Nash and Friends interviews where you get to see guests come on, Vince Russo, Kevin Sullivan, Sean Waltman, and spend some time with us talking about the old times, having fun with Kevin. Our viewers, our members, get to come in, ask questions, hang out, and appear on screen with the stars. So go check it out, KliqThisTV.com. A good time had by all.
We actually did the one with Sean. We watched Action Zone.
Yes.
And then whereas I wish we'll have him back again just to talk.
Yeah.
I like it better. I don't like it. I don't like the watch alongs.
The watch alongs, because it pulls focus from the discussion a little bit. You have to talk about what's on screen.
It takes too much away from the guest.
Right.
So I apologize to Sean Waltman for that.
Well, I think he had a good time. I don't think it was an apology necessarily, but I think he had a good time. But we could do it where we just shoot the shit next time.
Yeah.
Well, you two shoot the shit. I'll get out of the way.
No,
if our chemistry is waning.
No, you're just. I think you guys if because you're working on a project together.
Yeah.
So you guys.
We are coming soon. We have a meeting tomorrow.
I can't wait. I can't wait for that.
You know what I can't wait for? When it's time to chew my product, courtesy of my friends at BLUECHEW. This stiff one of the week, sponsored by BLUECHEW, as it is so many weeks. Let's talk about sex, guys. Remember the days when you were ready to go? You can now increase your performance and get that extra confidence in bed. Listen up, BLUECHEW.com. BLUECHEW is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, Levitra, but in chewable tablets and at a fraction of the cost. And the special thing about it, it's all done online. Your consultation is done online. Your script is taken care of online. Your product arrives in the mail. So no visits to a doctor's office. You're not screwing around in the pharmacy. It's all done online. Products made in the USA, prepared, shipped directly to your door in discreet packaging. I could read this. I know this thing by heart already because of our friends at BLUECHEW. Love them. And you know what? Whenever I run into people at conventions and whatnot, they hold up that pack of Blue Chew to me, like I own the company. But they know they're such a recognizable sponsor of our show. So we want you to experience it now.
They might want to be giving you, slip you a little sausage.
Maybe that's an invitation, like the old hotel key gimmick, right?
The old school hotel key.
Listen, Blue Chew wants to help you have better sex. So now it's your turn. Discover your options at BlueChew.com. Just chew it and do it. It's that simple. And we've got a special deal for you, like we do with all of our listeners always. Blue Chew will be free for you for your first trial. Use the promo code NASH at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code NASH to receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. We thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the stiff one. We're going to the court for this one, Kevin. I don't mean the People's Court. I mean the hardwood. And your friend Bill Laimbeer is often the topic of much discussion. I caught this clip of Larry Bird talking about what it was like to play against Bill Laimbeer in the 80s.
I never really ever liked Laimbeer in any social situation.
No.
Yeah.
And it's because he was a dirty player.
Right.
Now, he had to do what he had to do. I understand that. But you take, like, Ricky Mahorn, he hit you and all that, but he hit you, you know you're going to get hit.
Yeah.
He didn't try to maim you.
Right.
Bill tried to hurt you.
Right.
And, he was one of them guys, you shoot a jumper, he tried to slide his foot underneath your ankle so you twist your ankle. And that's why Parrish
Did he really used to do that?
If you watch any of our old games, Parrish was always twisting his ankle against the Pistons. So one time I shot a jumper and Laimbeer did it to me, and I stepped on his foot, but I stepped on a high and twist my ankle. I don't know, a quarter or two later, he was shooting that jumper. I slid mine in there. That's the last time he ever did it.
Really?
Yeah. But he was, he had to play the way he had to play, and we all understood that. But if you carry it too far, you carry it over the line, you got to protect yourself.
I remember Bill Laimbeer.
You'd agree that I'm going to leave you Detroit behind a minute here. You'd agree that that's a terrible, terrible thing to do. Under the
foul,
basket.
that foul where he fucking clotheslines and drives Bird down to the ground.
Oh, that's when they ended up in fisticuffs under the basket. Yeah.
Well, actually, Rodman probably threw more punches in that melee than anybody else. But yeah, Laimbeer was a nasty fucker.
Yeah. He talked about Rick Mahorn,
who was it
right?
who was it that broke? Was it did she bust him? Who busted his nose? Remember, Laimbeer played like half a season with one of those
with the mask. You think it was Parrish?
I don't know who it was.
I don't remember.
I remember Jabbar got poked in the eye by Kent Benson. I think he turned around and punched the standard and broke his hand and missed a bunch of fucking games.
Oh.
Somebody punched. I remember somebody punched Kent Benson in the fucking head too. That might have been Parrish. Parrish didn't take no shit.
No, he didn't take shit. The Chief didn't take shit.
Chief was all fucking smoked up, man. Dude, fucking with my buzz, man. I'm gonna have to give you a little bit of this knuckleage.
The reputation. God, I love basketball in the 80s. Oh my God. The teams had such identities. It was almost like wrestling in a way. That the tag teams had an identity. The Bad Boys from Detroit, and actually, I mean, Rodman was a little crazy, but Bill Laimbeer was the only bad boy. Isaiah was a
Mahorn was he was a tough fucker.
Yeah, but like Bird said, Mahorn, you're going to get banged up a little bit. There was nothing dirty. He wasn't trying to take you out, twist your ankle or whatever. But you know what's funny? I watch a lot of I come across on YouTube sometimes younger basketball fans of today watching the legends, just kind of like being exposed to them for the first time or whatever. And they always say that these guys, that the guys today couldn't have played back then just because of how quick they are to the whistle now, referees. These guys would have been not ready for the physicality of 70s and 80s basketball under the glass. Do you agree with that?
No. I think that it's like anything else. I think that, you know, if you would have had the same rules in the 70s where you couldn't hit the quarterbacks wouldn't be, you know. I just think you're going to adapt. You know, it's got to the point now where, and now this next season coming up is going to be interesting on the flop rule, because there's sometimes, man, like,
What have they've changed?
yeah, where you know, if you go to the hole and you don't get hammered, and you do the grab your head, all that bullshit. But see, I mean, LeBron has taken that to an art form because that's what the game is. So, you know, I mean, there's so many times you'll go to the basket and I'll be like, fuck, man, call the foul. Then they'll show it in slow motion. I'll be like, oh, there wasn't one. So.
But you think, guys, I'm thinking of guys like Charles Oakley, Charles Barkley. You think there's the same level of physicality in today's game as there was back then? These guys?
No, because it's not allowed. But the bodies.
Oh, that's what I'm. Okay, right.
The bodies are still there.
Should they let them play a little more?
Let Jokic play. Let that big Frankenstein loose. There's some big boys in that league.
That is funny.
And the thing is, when you had that era, almost everybody had a hatchet man. Like, you had a hatchet guy on your team.
On the team to go out and do the
like Kite from
Greg Kite.
You know,
that big white bastard was good for something at least.
That motherfucker that the Jazz had, Oster, whatever the fuck his name was. They had some fucking, man. I'm trying to think of some of those white fuckers that just come in and just pound the fuck out of people.
Yeah. Great Greg Kite reference. I wouldn't have guessed that we would have had one. He became a Celtic in 1986, I think, right?
He was from Brigham Young. He went to Brigham. Played ball at Brigham Young. Actually, wasn't a bad ball player. Just, you know. But I remember, like, when I was a kid, watching the NBA, and like the guys like John Block and Toby Kimball and some of these fucking guys, man. Both of those guys were bald. You know, they were bald. Like, Toby Kimball was a bald 6'9" guy, played with the Kansas City Royals. You know, just looked like somebody's dad just got done cutting the lawn, put some fucking sneakers on and some high socks, and you know, John Block was a decent shooter from, like, free throw line end.
That's a little before me.
Tom Borwinkle went to Tennessee. Big 7'2" guy, big monster. Paul McKeskey was at Kansas, a 7'2" guy. Yeah, there were some fucking beasts.
Like in hockey, you know, when you had the guy they'd send out there to just.
Yeah, well, it was like during that era with Schultz.
Dave Schultz. Yeah, exactly. The Flyers.
I think that Flyers team was. Yeah. Well, but fucking Orr was no bitch. Bobby Orr? He was no bitch. He didn't take any shit. He was a tough defenseman. And then it got to, you know, the Probert and the Domey and those guys.
Probert, my God.
I mean, there were guys that they fucking, when the Wings would play Toronto, shit, they just wait for those fuckers. There were times before the puck dropped, those guys were dropping their gloves.
Yeah, the news clips at the end of the night looked more like the WBA championships than anything in the NHL.
Oh, yeah. All that was missing was those green belts.
Exactly.
I think that should be the new rule. Everybody, all belts should be on green leather in every sport.
Every sport.
Dear
Sexy is back. This is where we have actual Dear Abby letters. And what if Kevin was the one being asked for advice by the writers of the letters? Actual letters from the archives of Dear Abby. Dear Sexy, I have been living with my fiance Trevor for 3 years. When his children, ages 7 and 8, are here for their visits, he treats me like a third wheel. Trevor shows me absolutely no affection, nor will he even have as much as a 2-sentence conversation with me. His children dictate what we'll be having for dinner and what we'll do for the weekend when they're here. They hang on him as if they are growths on his skin. I can't even get a hug from him. We don't have 5 minutes alone. Trevor allows them to stay up as late as they want, and once they go to bed, he goes too. Most times he doesn't even say goodnight. Many times he's left me and my 5-year-old son sleeping and has taken his kids for breakfast without even giving me the courtesy of asking if we would like to join them. Sexy, as soon as his children return to their mother, he becomes himself again, attentive, loving, and always including me in what he's doing. I've told Trevor many times now how I feel about this. I understand he loves his children, wants to spend as much time with them as possible when they're here, but I must I be put on hold while they visit? I'm ready to pick up and leave. That's from Low Priority in Pennsylvania.
I mean, that's such a tough situation when you're really not parenting. You've got them for 2 days, so it's almost like the last thing you want to do is I know some friends of mine that co-parented. The guy always ends up trying to be the kid's friend instead of actually doing any of the parenting, and then the wife ends up being the heavy because they want the kids to like them. The fathers a lot of times, and
but does she have, in this situation where it's the father's two kids, does she have some right to?
Oh, absolutely. I think that
to lay down the law.
Until you said that, I mean, I would take it that it must be their 5-year-old. Like they must have the 5-year-old together, right?
Together, right?
I mean, it would be that clarity would. So if you're mistreating one of your own children, to me, it's almost like by not showing affection, you're still like you're not over the first wife, like that. You're still like because
so in front of the kids.
In front of the kids, you're not showing any affection because you secretly want to get back. That's how I would. That would be one of.
Okay.
If I was the wife, I would say like, why do you not show me any affection? Is it the fact that you want to hook back up with your wife? You don't want your kids coming back. So dad's always kissing on whatever.
Right.
I don't know.
Very good. Interesting. Dear Sexy, is there anything wrong with having a lover solely for the purpose of sex? He's grieving for his late wife, my best friend, and I'm separated from my husband. We're both lonely and have supported each other through our pain. A few weeks ago, we decided to become lovers. We both have our eyes open, and we don't expect anything out of this except a friendship with benefits. I am satisfying his needs, and he is making me remember the woman I used to be before I was emotionally beaten down by my husband. I see myself as enjoying the best of both worlds. I'm finding myself again, and I don't have to answer to anyone but me. So, Sexy, what do you think? I guess I'm looking for some validation for our selfishness. That's from Friend with Benefits.
How are they being selfish? If you're number one, if you're honest, as long as you're honest with the person, like there's nothing worse than, saying that, and he's lost, he's in grieving, and she obviously, it seems like she was mistreated. So if they're taking, I mean, it beats the fuck out of cardio. I'm sure. Worst case scenario, I'd rather be getting a shot of ass for fucking an hour than being on a treadmill. But no.
Does it make it weirder that was her best friend? Or or is that inconsequential because?
Yeah, I mean, it's
she's
just
not here.
Yeah, she's gone.
Right.
I think I would make it like every time that they break the ice, I'd have the She's Gone soundtrack from Hall & Oates play for the first 5 minutes of the pounding, and then go from there.
The sensitive Kevin Nash on the latest edition of
She's
Dear
Gone. whole lie.
Kevin, what is HelloFresh? God, who would even ask that question nowadays? With HelloFresh, you get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal.
That's my mother-in-law, man. She rifled my last order.
Your last order of HelloFresh, right? Well, they are delivered right to your door.
I got to write this down because I got to write this down because she
You
wants
need another.
Yeah, I forget. I always forget that. No, she wants. So it's Kliq.
Yes, skip trips to the grocery store. Count on HelloFresh to make some home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. This is America's #1 meal kit, and there's a reason. There are many reasons, by the way, but
besides, it's good.
Right, that's of course the first. Not just good, but the options you have. Listen. Is your family hungry all the time? You can add snacks to this now, sides, and more to your weekly HelloFresh order. Just simply shop HelloFresh Market. Take your pick from curated selection over 100 add-on items. This is in addition to the meals that they have. If you'd love a wholesome homemade meal, there's just not enough time in your schedule. We get it. So many of us have this situation. With HelloFresh, all you need is 15 minutes. You'll be enjoying a tasty, satisfying meal made in your own kitchen. Just look for their quick and easy dinner options, okay, when you go there. Plus quick breakfasts and lunches, too, not just the dinners, all right? You know what the key to dinner time success is? As far as I'm concerned, variety. I want choices. And they keep your taste buds on their toes with 40 chef-crafted recipes to select from every week. That was 40 chef-crafted recipes I can choose from every week, okay? From family-friendly meals to fit and wholesome, you pick the category that you want to shop, and you'll always find new and exciting recipes to try and love. Guys, you're going to go to HelloFresh.com/50Kliq. Use code 50Kliq for 50% off plus free shipping, okay? That is HelloFresh.com/50Kliq. And use the code 50Kliq for 50% off, for God's sakes. HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. Any takeaways from SummerSlam? That was the big, event of the week.
My biggest personal takeaway from SummerSlam. First of all, let me say this. So I was in Detroit last weekend for the High Spots did a WrestleCon. Not highly. It didn't draw very well. It was at the old Cobo, but Saturday, which you would think would be the busy day, they started out in downtown Detroit with a Tiger baseball game. So as I'm leaving about 2:10, I'm leaving the WrestleCon. I'm going to go. I'm with my sister and her wife, and we're going to go to the Hudson Cafe and have brunch. So we have to go park in the parking garage. Then we had to walk to the Hudson Cafe. So downtown Detroit was between the baseball game getting out and the SummerSlam crowd walking towards Ford Field. I mean, Woodward was just packed. It was like 1966 Detroit, it just on a Saturday afternoon. It was so many people. And I was very happy to see NWO Detroit shirts that were part of the sale. So
Detroit
very happy.
World Order, right? Was that?
Yeah, Detroit World Order.
Yeah.
That made me happy. I saw the dude came up to me. I said, "Is that a WWE shirt?" He said, "It sure is." I said, "Nice, thank you." I asked if I could be involved. I asked if I could be the master of ceremonies. I'm not bullshitting. I asked.
Of what?
Of SummerSlam.
Did you?
I asked. Deaf ears, baby. Guess they didn't want this motherfucking liberal anywhere near that program.
So what did you envision yourself doing?
Just being charming.
Opening. Nope. Something in ring. or
I was hoping about just on the ramp, Welcome to Detroit.
Right.
Just,
Okay.
Easy.
I didn't know if you meant on. I didn't know if you meant on the commentary to open the show with them.
Yeah, just I would have been great with a camera crew, like outside of Ford Field, talking to the Detroit fans and the fans from around the world that came in.
You probably just didn't give him enough time. He probably would have went along with it. If
I don't know. I don't
time
know how much more time I can give him. It was like for a couple months.
Oh,
I think that they think that I would just probably would have said nah, but I would have actually done it because I was there.
You were there, and the push for the merch with the Detroit logo on it now, Detroit World Order. That kind of made a little bit of sense.
Oh, nice. But my biggest takeaway from the show itself.
Yes, that's what I meant.
The actually wrestling event was, I thought that the match, I thought the Lesnar, number one, I did not think that Lesnar and Cody would go on second. I did not think that would be the second match of the night.
Right.
I did think that the physicality of the match for the first 90% of it was what it would be, the same as Cody basically takes, the beating of a lifetime. And then, Brock ends up stopping himself, and then Cody hits him with 355 cutters, and boom, finally he beat Lesnar. But the thing that I was afraid that they had pushed, like, I didn't know how manufactured Cody was, if it was because of the Peacock special and all the things. Is just like, is the machine pushing him, or are the people really behind him? And
Well, it could be both.
Yeah, it could be both. But I think that Brock, and I found out this later, that Brock, it was not in the script, nor was it discussed that Brock at any time would raise his hand after the match was over, would shake his hand and raise his hand. So I think that was, and I think that was impromptu on Brock's behalf, because it was like like Brock felt he was worthy, and I think that did, just spoke volumes for how Brock felt about Cody, which changed my opinion, because I've never been in the ring with Cody, so I just don't know how. But obviously, you feel that energy when you're in the ring with a guy, that he is over, and he's super over. Because Monday night he had 2 sing-alongs on the way down. He had one halfway down where he stopped and he touched the floor and they did the little thing, and then he had one when he got to the ring before he got in, another little sing-along. So 2 sing-alongs.
That's an indication of what's to come.
That's you're over. You're over.
Yeah.
So I was very happy, because the roster's not that, it's not that full. So you can't afford to mishandle a talent, and they didn't him, and he's over. And I'm proud of him, because I think that I think he really loves this business.
Absolutely. The workers all love him.
Yeah, it's just I'm happy for him. I'm happy for for Dusty. I'm happy for the Rhodes family. His mom is a sweetheart, and she never doesn't come and say hello to me anytime that we run into each other. So,
was that how you would have booked it?
It was the rubber match. You can't. What are you going to do? You're going to beat Cody all the way to WrestleMania? Then he's going to, do the banana peel with Roman? You got to give him some. To beat Brock it's hard for me. It's hard for me to watch anybody beat Brock, because I've heard so many people in the mixed martial arts that like Lesnar just kind of was, he just decided he was going to do this, and he was so strong and so fast, and he was just a monster. If there was no weight limit in the UFC and Brock could have went in there at like 298. Oh,
But that's what I'm saying. Like would that believability part of you knowing what you know about Brock, would that be weighing into your making it more difficult to make a decision, or is it, hey, it's just wrestling, it doesn't really fucking matter what I know about Brock?
No, I think it. Yeah, I think it does. I think that it definitely. But you know what? When I watched it back, and at the end, I just basically I watched the last 3-4 minutes of the match, and then the after, and I watched that back, and it's like Cody's is big. He's not that much smaller. I mean, he's smaller than him, but I mean, it's not like, like Cody's got it's got some size to him.
Right. Well, we're not talking about height here. I'm like,
overall,
the mass of Brock is.
Well, just Brock is, I think, I don't know who used the term, but I saw it but Brock is a unicorn. Like there's not, when Brock decides he's not going to do this anymore, there won't be anybody that comes along that people say, oh, you know who he's like? He's like Brock Lesnar.
True. Even if you look at the other MMA guys who come before, none of them go near.
None of them were
Brock comes to represent.
None of them were as good as Brock was at a collegiate level to come in and be. And him and Kurt came in at the same time. And the hardest thing you have when you've got shooters is they've been taught their whole life, do not get on your back. And in pro wrestling, you have to flat back. So that's always been the hardest thing for a shooter to learn, is like to make, it's almost like, okay, everything you've learned since you were 5 years old, take that, put it out the window, because now everything you do is going to be based on you kicking out on 2.5. So, but both Brock and Kurt Angle were just amazing at how quickly they took on to the pro circuit. And I forget, it was the WrestleMania. It was the one after Toronto. Did they wrestle in Toronto?
Let's see where it was.
Guys? Was that where Brock missed that moonsault and a normal human would have died? Was that Toronto? That wasn't Toronto, Dominic says. Was it Seattle? Yeah, it was Seattle. It was the Drowning Pool played beforehand. The Drowning Pool played when Triple H came down. That was I was injured. I had my quad or I had some kind of injury. But maybe, who knows, mental. But that was the one where me and Steve just hung out. Steve Austin. But yeah, he for him to be that good coming out of college, to be that good as a pro, and then to go to UFC and become the world heavyweight champion UFC, it just, there's just nobody's going to have that kind of credentials.
In keeping with SummerSlam, curious on what you think as a booker about the Roman Reigns Usos finish.
Where do you go? Where do you go? It's
Could it have been the culmination of the angle, or does the angle have to survive? Because now you run the risk. You can use an NWO analogy. You've thrown out too many T-shirts, so to speak. It was successful across the board. Everyone kind of agrees. And so you get to the bloodline angle. Could SummerSlam just have been the big blow-off? And everybody goes in a different direction. Did you need to keep it going?
I mean, you've got somebody that's selling merchandise as a tribal chief, and if you take like do you remember when they were going into WrestleMania, and Cody cut that promo on him? He said, no, "When I beat you, then what's going to happen? Because now the tribe will leave you, and you'll just be." And basically, Roman walked like out of the ring and was half-assed babyface by the time he got halfway up the ramp. So you got to be really careful when you pull too many people, So to me, having the brother stop the other brother because maybe he sees, number one, there's going to be the jealousy angle. Why did he get the shot?
But is that going to draw? It's very different than what the bloodline has been so far. So
yeah, well, I don't know. I think Roman's at such a different level than the rest of the talent is. There was some word that out rumor wise that Roman was injured, or was nursing an injury. I don't think that they're too far off course to correct. They just need like right now, if Finn and those guys made a push at them and they had to realign to save the tribe, it just depends on what the next obstacle to come to the tribe is. Does the tribe pull back together, and does it solidify? Then you're going to have the Orndorff Hogan thing, knowing that when is Orndorff going to? He's already, when you get that turn. So it's there's a lot of ways psychology wise. It just depends, I think, on the next obstacle that the tribe has to go through, and Roman has to direct the crew through.
Yeah, I see them galvanizing again as a better option than fracturing and fighting each other for 6 months.
You really want to fucking? I mean, you want to kill that fucking merchandise and that whole over. You got through SummerSlam. I mean, a lot of the smarts didn't like it, but I think that like we always used to say, man, in the business, fuck them. We got their money.
Got the money.
Yeah. I'm telling you something right now, man. Fucking Raw shit, fucking bullshit, and I will not fucking watch Raw until next Monday.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, thanks. We got you. Fuck off.
Brock Lesnar. I want to get back to SummerSlam for a minute. I don't want to get off this here. The moment at the end of the match. The handshake, the raising of the hand, and that moment in the ring, which, I mean, we've seen that stuff before. But I did read that Brock was going to be going away for a while. So I thought it was a significant moment. And Paul said at the press conference that it was unplanned. That it was
right.
It was something.
So does anybody know why Brock's not going to be around for a while?
Yeah, I didn't see. I don't think it's injury. According to, I think I'm going to read the quote exactly here. So according to Meltzer, I don't think it's injury. Meltzer said Brock was originally advertised for one of the pay-per-views later this year, but he's not going to be on it. He's going to be gone for a while, no time soon, as far as the next 4 months or something like that. He's not going to be on anything at that point. He will be back for Mania season. That's the situation with him. So I don't know. But the fact that he was gone and took the opportunity in the center of the ring on the pay-per-view to do that with Cody, which was not part of the angle, was a moment for sure. The trilogy having ended. There's a callback to Kurt doing it. Anyway, the reason I'm asking about this is because you, of course, the curtain call moment in Madison Square Garden. A little different because you guys were exiting the company and it was a farewell. But moments that improv moments by workers, breaking kayfabe a little bit. Were you ever, of course, we know about the curtain call, but were you ever moved to acknowledge the victory of the person if it was not planned or part of what was discussed after the match, just because you thought maybe the match was so good? Like, fuck, I had a great match with him. I'm gonna take an extra moment to
I
put him
remember
over.
there was a period when Lex was just super over, and we ended up at Auburn Hills, and it was just like we couldn't wait until like for Sting for Starrcade. We couldn't wait that long because it was like Lex needed to to get the strap, even if it was just for a couple of weeks, because he was just red hot. And I remember us all at that TV going and just talking it over with Eric, and Hulk was on point with it, saying like yes, like he felt it too, like Lex is just super hot right now and everything. It was just time to do that favor for Lex. So that would probably be the closest thing I could think of just because the thing was, it was supposed to be, I think it pissed Steve off. I think that Steve was pissed that the belt got, but it was a short period of time. I don't even know how long Lex had it for. But I know that he went, I'm pretty sure it was Auburn Hills, if I'm not mistaken. He went over at Nitro.
Right. It's a cool moment, like when stuff like that happens.
Yeah. I think anytime that somebody's, because one thing about being a pro is you learn to listen to the people. And you can really hear the people. And when you have the people or when somebody else does. And I'm sure that Brock did. I'm sure that when Brock, it's almost when somebody beats you for the third, 2 out of 3, and now you're in that position where they're handing him the belt. It's so fucking flat for Brock not to do that. For Brock to just slide underneath the bottom rope and give Cody that moment without the endorsement is kind of, like what
would have been anticlimactic after the last year.
Yeah. I mean, so it just, and I'm sure that Brock didn't put that kind of thought into it. It just went, I'm sure Brock at that moment it just didn't feel right. And
without it. That's interesting.
Yeah. I'm guessing. I mean,
yeah, well,
because Brock definitely, just one thing that I've learned from watching him is he doesn't get the credit that he should for his psychology, for his ability to sell, for his ability to sell for anybody. He's a pro's pro.
Excellent.
I'm a huge fan of Brock Lesnar.
Today we're here with a sponsor for your bouncing bundles of joy. I'm not talking about babies, okay? We're talking about your baby makers downstairs. That's right. Today's show brought to you by Manscaped. But, just like babies, your delicate little guys have sensitive skin too. They deserve products that are not only skin safe, but also made with safe ingredients. And that's where Manscaped's Platinum package comes in. From razors to shower care, this package goes above the gold standard for your body hair. So treat your beautiful boys to the world's finest toys at manscaped.com. Use our promo code KLIQ, K-L-I-Q, for 20% off, plus free shipping. Okay, the Platinum Package 4, it's the one-stop shop. Okay, it's all in there, baby. You're going to get the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, the Weed Whacker ear, hair, and nose trimmer, Ultra Premium Body Wash, Ultra Premium 2-in-1 shampoo, plus conditioner, Ultra Premium deodorant, Crop Preserver, Anti-Chafing Ball Deodorant, Crop Reviver, Ball Spray Toner, Anti-Chafing Boxers, and the Shed, the travel bag, to hold your goods while traveling. Guys, you cannot get a more complete package than the Platinum Package 4.0. So take care of your package by getting that Platinum Package 4.0. All right? Covers all bases from head to toe, from hair to ball fro. Get 20% off and free shipping when you use that code Kliq at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use code KLIQ. Use that Platinum Package because the gold standard is no longer good enough. Thank you, Manscaped.
I'll tell you one thing, that this is probably too much information, but as the summer goes on, I don't care how well you scrub yourself. When you finally take your clippers and trim your armpit and your groin area, and then if I can take that, if I can set it set that fucking hair someplace, let it dry, then come back and fucking.
Oh my God! I can imagine.
Yeah, it's funkadelic. You got to get. Yeah, you don't want you want to get that shit off.
Right, and Manscaped is the perfect way, especially with
Unbelievable.
all those products in one package. It's unbelievable.
So I found another. So the beard balm.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm on the plane coming back from Detroit, and I'm so ashy on the front of my shins that it's ridiculous. It's embarrassing. I won't even put my leg up, like, to cross my leg to watch TV. So I'm like, fuck, man, what do I have? I said, I don't want to use the beard oil gimmick. That's pretty good personal lubricant. So I'm like, so I went to the beard balm. I just went in and just got a little bit and put it on the front of my shins when I got to the Sky Lounge and rubbed it in.
Did the trick.
Oh, beautiful, baby. Beautiful. There's so many. I mean, it's just
being a guy isn't easy. Being a guy isn't easy. Women, the beauty line is dominated by products for women. Well, this is finally changing.
That is my toiletry kit. Is that the Manscaped bag, and I put a toothbrush, deodorant, toothpaste, and then I think that's it, and then everything else is just their products.
Yep.
When I go on the road.
Take it from Kevin Nash. When you hit the road, grab that Manscaped bag. And if there's anything else you'd like to know from Kevin Nash, you could always hashtag AskNash. That's how we do this here. Delbert Prince did it. And as a result, I'm going to read his question. It says, I have a comment and a music question. Due to the fact we are celebrating 50 years of hip-hop music, I would like to ask Kevin and Sean, who's the best hip-hop song in your lives? NWO fan for life. So I guess, what is the best hip-hop song? Ooh, God, you pick one? I don't think you can pick one over 50 years. Got to give creds to the old school, right? Sugar Hill Gang got things started.
I'm going to go Blowfly. Let me think. It's Tricky is pretty hard to fucking beat.
Oh, the Run DMC, It's Tricky? That's dope.
That's pretty hard to beat. Anytime I hear that, that's one of those ones that goes through all time frames.
Yeah, I remember I had that cassette, the Raisin Hell cassette. That was huge. That was a huge break crossover cassette for Run DMC. I lost it in a fucking pool game to TJ Rivera. I think I was
always a
12 or
huge
13.
I was a huge Death Row guy. And I mean, to this day, like nobody can touch Tupac to me. Like he's my all-time favorite artist.
I'm gonna throw out a couple of dark horses here. Okay, I'm gonna say Eric B. and Rakim. Know the Ledge, big fan of that, and boy, fuck Compton's always kind of fun. Tim Dog. That's just because I'm a New York guy, East Coast guy. How about Bitch Better Have My Money? AMG. Bitch Better Have My Money.
I think all those are. I mean, it's just. I don't think they transcend. Like Tupac, he rhymed, but he also put like that R&B flavor. He was the first one that kind of sang melodies. I just think that he took it to just such a different art form.
Very
It
good.
may not. I don't know. It wasn't. He could still fucking spit raw as fuck, but he was just. I don't know, man. I just think that his range from Dear Mama to fucking, talking shit about fucking my 4-4. Make sure you fucking don't breathe no more. Just
Dom throwing out the message. That's Grandmaster Flash, right? Oldest school. You're the oldest school. Rocky Monroe. Kev says, you guys asked me to let you know Steamboat was great. Now, this is a guy who said that Steamboat lived in his town, remember? And he said he asked you if it would be uncool for him to approach Ricky. So the result is Steamboat was great. Crazy to me that himself and Kane both live local. Maybe one day Kev will come back too. Where's he talking about? To come back.
Gotta be.
Is he Phoenix?
No,
they're
in Knoxville.
Oh, did you live in Knoxville ever?
I went to college there.
Oh, that's right, Tennessee. Okay, very good. How about the live audience? So you guys have been waiting patiently, sitting through this action-packed show. Mark DZ. Kev, I read at WrestleMania 12, Taker got served divorce papers that day or sometime before, and he told you had to carry the match. Is that true?
He told me he needed some help. He was just like, dude, I got served. My mind's everywhere but here.
Wow, never heard that. Interesting.
And Taker and I had just came back from probably working each other fucking 25 straight nights in Europe. So, and I'd given my notice. So Mark and I we weren't putting anything together. We were just calling everything on the fly. So it was such a perfect, I mean, it was just, we had been on autopilot for the better part of a month, and it carried right into that night.
Amazing. Wow.
And we just kind of called it back and forth. Like once Mark kind of got a field where we were at and could hear that's such a different fucking vibe if you're being in Ford Field in front of 56,000 people and being in the Anaheim Pond in front of fucking 12, 13,000. So,
Right. True. What else from the live audience? Thank you, Mark. That was great. Who else here with us? You could be with us, too, at KliqThisTV.com by subscribing. Humberto Ramos. Does Kev or Sean participate in fantasy football? If not, which of the boys likes to that he knows of? Shout out, fellas. Thank you, Humberto. Do you ever do fantasy football?
I don't get it.
Don't understand it?
Don't understand why you do it.
Money. Like a league. You put in the money and choose the players. And I did it back before the internet.
I just would rather just fucking watch. I just would rather just watch football. I don't want to have.
Any of the boys used to do it back then?
I don't know because it's just not my gig.
Right. Today they probably will.
Fantasy anything. Fuck that. I ain't fantasize. I'm in my own fantasy league. It's called. I fantasize about fucking pussy.
I was gonna say maybe a little Gilligan's Island, Tina Louise, maybe, or
Kendra Lust. What? Michigan girl, got to give her some love, man. Plus she's the hot. She always gets the hottest. That's when you know.
Why doesn't she do a Nash and Friends? She's a Michigan girl. What do you think?
We should have her on. She's great. I'm sure she's a huge wrestling fan.
I have a few watch-along ideas.
No, we're not going to be fucking gross.
Oh, we're not going to be crass. We're not going to be guys. The guy who just said I fantasize about pussy, not football, has just donned the collar and is dusting off his halo for everybody. Another question. From
She's
the
like
audience.
we're. I consider her kind of like a friend. So
All right, so we'll talk about art.
We would be nice. Yeah,
we'll talk about your art major days.
Well, no, she can run the rudder on that conversation.
Apropos of wet snow, question for Kev. What if Vince McMahon did a series of tell-all PG-13 kayfabe commentary style shoot videos whilst on his deathbed to be released posthumously? If Vince was answering the questions,
that would mean that fucking Vince McMahon was actually human and was going to pass away sometime.
It's going to be Vince and the Roaches. Apropos, I always said that's the one shoot that I haven't done that I would love to do, and Vince would love to do it with me. I would not. I don't give a shit about all the fucking steroid scandal, sex scandal. We know all about that. I would talk to him about his takeover of that business, the industry, identifying cable, buying out all the smaller cable, just the risk, the gamble that guy took in '84, getting Cyndi Lauper to be on. It's insane.
Just that thing that you sent me today when he was talking about the whole endeavor, just the merger. And I mean, it's just like, what is it, $9.6 billion?
Yeah.
Just touche, motherfucker. I mean, just too fucking shay.
I hope maybe it'll happen someday. We'll see, guys, if I get Vince in the chair. Hispanic causing panic. Saw you at WrestleCon in Detroit last weekend. I noticed they had you facing a Detroit pizza sign. Was it a rib?
Had to be, right?
Also, did you get a Coney dog while you were in town?
Yes.
You did?
Hell yeah.
Good for you. You did mention to me, it was noteworthy enough that you told me when you got back about the Detroit pizza sign.
I just said, what the fuck, man? I said, are you kidding me? There's one vendor in the entire fucking building, and it's a fucking 313 Detroit pizza.
Fantastic.
I think it was just 313 Pizza is what it was called. I got my 313 hat. I'm representing tonight.
You're representing.
This was one of T's favorite hats.
Speaking of which, Matt Lamont
says his hat.
Your special bond with Tristan are some of my favorite moments of the show. I like to think I have something similar with my dad. The happiness and love I can hear you have when sharing stories about T, good or bad, is something I connect with. Thanks again for your time.
Thanks, man. No, Tara and I were laughing the other day. There was this time, like sometimes, man, he would just be super flamboyant. He'd have like 2 or 3 scarves on, and it's this big fucking, I brought him back this, I don't know what, if it's Polynesian or something, it's like this necklace thing, and he'd have that on, and he'd have these short gray shorts on. They were just ball huggers, some fucking Vans. We'd go out to eat, and people would look at him, and he'd fucking hadn't combed his hair in a fucking week, and the beard would be wild as fuck. I was just thinking, like, man, he was the epitome of I don't give a fuck.
Oh, he was his own dude. I mean, we could all learn from that.
Yeah, I did. I really did, man. T would have appreciated not tipping.
Well, T would
have fucking loved that. T would have said, "Send him the dollar, Dad." That's what T would have said. Send him the dollar and see because if they would have came at that point as a server, and you get the dollar, it would be worse
than nothing.
Because
somebody took the time to gauge your worth, and it was worth $1.
Yeah, so nothing would have been like. They would have. I wonder how they would have handled that. Would they have just said, "Wow"? like we got man. He roasted us because you took the time to pay cash, and you paid exact. So then on top of that, just to fucking roast him, God, that would I just really think we really missed.
We missed an opportunity to be total douchebags.
No, just on
the rib,
on a personal psychological, just like a. I think we would have got some. I just wonder if somebody would have had the balls to say, "I know things have been bad, but fuck, man, you're gonna." And
I don't think they would have.
I would say, well, so you really think that you fucking deserve $60 fucking at 30% a fucking bottle of wine to fucking, you didn't open it at my table. You fucking brought the fucking shit opened. Nobody fucking sat there and opened a bottle. They came with the no, they didn't. The presentation, he put the bottle like this, and then the fucking douchebag didn't even pour your wife a glass.
That is true.
I mean, that's opening volley. He didn't even, and then your wife is sitting there, and I'm not going to say her name because I don't want anybody to know her. I'm not going to say her name because I don't want people to know your wife's name. But she sees the guy come over, and she sees him filling Tamara's up. So she immediately has like spittle in hers, but she clearly makes eye contact with him, drinks it, and then puts it down, and he didn't fill it up again. I went, I can't believe that. And she was like, she looked at me like, thank God, she was like, right? I'm like, I swear to you, on the way home, she probably said, I wish Kevin would have not tipped those motherfuckers. Tell me she didn't. She was in. She was all in on that fucking deal.
She said, Kev's mean guy thing is all an act. She goes, there's a smile behind all of it.
Oh, of course.
You got his number. You got his number.
I'm not a dick. I just, it's one of those things where it's just like, man, come on. This is supposed to be like.
Listen,
what if I was trying to close you guys on a big real estate deal, and I'm trying to close you guys on a fucking $3 million fucking piece of property. I take you guys out, and we get treated like that, and you don't fucking fill your wife's fucking glass. Like, think about it in that sense. It's not just two guys that do a podcast. Think if this was fucking was a business meal. I mean, that would have been fucked. There was a shit in Hyde Park and Daytona Beach. Fucking needs to be fucking put on fucking speed dial on that. So if you don't have anything to do, I'm sure you can Google them, call them up and say, I was listening to Nash's fucking show. He's fucking pissed off. He thinks you guys suck cock, and he'll fucking go to the cellar next time he wants to have a good meal.
Very good. P. Maris, 78 at Twit Social, says in a previous episode, the subject of Make-A-Wish was brought up. How was that handled during your NWO run, and did Hogan's wishes drop during that time? I read he was worried about his charity work if he turned heel.
No, no.
Can you still do that stuff if you're working heel?
Absolutely. You're still the kid's wish.
Right.
You're not healing on the kid.
Right, but did Hulk think maybe opportunities would have dried up for stuff like that if he was hated as opposed to loved?
I think that no matter what, the guys are so caring and giving that if Hulk's requests were down, that would have just pushed Sting's or somebody else's up.
True.
And it's just as long as the wishes are being made, that's all that matters.
Got it. All right, what else from the house? Let's wrap up with some folks here. Take the time to subscribe to KliqThisTV.com. Like Too Hard and Fierce, have the Bucks called to thank you for the new contracts?
Not yet. No. They all.
Okay.
I bet you Kenny got a good deal. I know Barry Bloom still has Kenny.
No term. You didn't see any terms, right? I didn't see anything about
No
amounts. All right.
I'm sure they all had a huge non-disclosure.
Probably. Who's next here?
Dom, did you say Barry has all of them?
Oh, yes.
He has Hangman and both of the Bucks. Nice. Barry fucking cleaning. See, Barry Bloom's got the sweetest gig. 10%, put together a deal, probably 3 hours, 5-year deal. He gets paid bank
for the term.
Yeah.
For the term of the deal, right?
Yeah, sweet. But at the same time, man, if shit goes sideways, man, he's a good guy to have. It was always money well spent.
Headingite says, were you around Brett when he did Lonesome Dove? Did you ever ask him about that?
I actually watched. He was because he was on the cover of the WWF magazine when the Lonesome Dove. There was a cover, and then they did a story. I thought Brett did a really good job on that show.
Okay, very good. What else we got?
Good look.
All right, send him in, Steve. What do we got? Humberto, once again. What up, fellas? In 2002, 2003, did Kev have any input into his ring entrance music? You just mean specifically for that run, 2002, 2003?
That was when I came back to New York?
Yes.
I wouldn't imagine I did.
Was it still, what's his name doing them at the time?
Jim Johnson.
Jim, yeah.
Yeah. After I came out to the fucking the truck horn and the engine starting, I mean it's anything up is uphill from
it's
there.
Good after that, yeah.
Yeah, it's just how many fucking hurdles did I have to get over?
Well, but that's Kevin
Scott Nash.
That's the story of the business, right?
We didn't even talk about that. We were going to talk about that. We didn't talk about it.
What?
The Miz LA Knight thing.
Oh,
we talked about that in the pregame.
I know. We shot our load.
That's right.
One of the fans in the audience want to ask about the the Miz's promo on LA Knight. Send a question in. Who's got a question? Matthew Chimura, Kevin and Sean. Any interesting stories of interactions with Marty Jannetty in the past? I know Sean dealt with Marty for a Breaking Kayfabe episode with an interesting aftermath, possibly. That is true. Kev, what about you? Hopefully you had a better time.
I had my favorite story is Jannetty somehow got in Scott's room in Minneapolis and destroyed it. And he went in to get paid, and they held back some of his pay. And Scott found out that Marty had did it, and Marty was in the other room, in the locker room, and he was sound asleep on a training table. And Scott beat the fuck out of him.
Right from a sleeping position, huh?
Oh, I mean, yeah. I don't think he ever had a chance to wake up. I think he was back out. Scott's a fuck, man. That was a dude you didn't want to piss off because he saw red when he was pissed.
Yeah, my story's documented in one of my books about the Breaking Kayfabe episode. I never had to edit anything as heavily as I did that, and it wasn't editing for a hatchet job. It was editing for clarity, because stories would trail off in the middle of them and then get picked up 17 minutes later after another question was asked. So I patched it together so the viewer would watch a question asked, a question answered kind of thing, and he didn't like the way he came across. He wanted a do-over after it was released. I said, there's no such thing as a do-over. It's out. And he then took issue with my heavily editing it to make him look bad, as I think how he advertised it. And I said, Marty, if you'd like, I'll put the raw footage on fucking Facebook, and everyone can just watch it in its raw footage. If you felt you were edited badly, I'd be happy to let everyone see the footage that I got that night from you. He didn't take me up on that. Another question. Headingite, what is your favorite part about filming a movie or show? How is it different from a wrestling TV show? God, it's very different from a wrestling TV show.
I think there's, I don't want to sell the art form of professional wrestling short, but I mean, to me, to each time you do a different project, you're usually a different character. So first thing you've got to do is you've got to find that character, and you've got to find the nuances. And like I was watching the show Heels, and the guy that was on Vikings plays the younger brother, Ace, and I think he's Nordic, or I know he's not. He doesn't speak like us. He doesn't speak English like us. And I noticed he brings his jaw out before he delivers dialogue, almost to get into like a redneck character, because he went to Georgia, and he just kind of, or maybe that's how because I didn't watch Vikings, but my wife watched Heels with me, and she said, that cat. He's also in that movie that I was just telling you about with Gyllenhaal.
Oh, right.
Steve, have you seen the movie where Gyllenhaal is they're in Afghanistan, and they get separated, and the Taliban he's like, Gyllenhaal's the head of they're looking for IED factories in Afghanistan, and Gyllenhaal's kind of the head dog. He's like the head sergeant, and they end up getting separated. It's him and a Afghan. Yes.
Covenant.
Yes.
Okay.
Have you guys both seen that, Steve and Wesley? Because that dude's in. That dude from that blonde haired dude that plays the brother is also in that. He's in that film.
Gotcha.
With short hair. He cut his hair off.
Anything else from the house? Or okay. Oh, thank you. A question from the Kliq This podcast. Kev's thoughts on the Mrs. promo on LA Knight.
Well, so if I'm LA Knight and I go over in the Slim Jim Battle Royal, I finally think like, okay, like they're realizing that I'm over, and I'm going to start to get a push, and then I come out on Raw, and they basically give Miz everything that we said on this show.
Give him a copy of our show.
Give him a copy of our show, basically saying that you're just a ripoff of the Attitude Era. And I didn't say anything about Steve, because Steve was pissed off at me about something else. So I didn't want to bring Steve up. But of course, the is just taking the hell off of it. So of course, I definitely, see the comparisons. But it just, I don't know. I thought that it showed how well the Miz can cut a promo. I think it showed. I thought that there was, if I was grading that segment, I would definitely, because LA bobbled a couple of lines where the Miz was spot on. So I've always said in this business that, when it comes down to it, when they say who's the best worker, who's the best this, who's the best that, it's really hard for me not to say, I don't know, maybe the guy with the hot wife that lives in the big house is probably worth $10 million. Yeah.
You didn't see equal in that ring that night. You didn't see.
No, I didn't feel. No, I felt it, and I also think though that LA Knight he's got what he wants. But it's almost like I would have taken that almost like, wow, like I got what I wanted, but it's almost like I'm being booby trapped. I don't. It just felt weird. It just felt like. And then if you're gonna really, because Miz throws the jacket on him and gets some heat on him, and that didn't look very vicious. Didn't look,
Gotcha.
I'm being kind.
You're being kind.
I'm being kind, and that didn't look vicious. And then Ellie came out on top of it, and then I would have went to the people or I would went to the hard camera and did my LA Knight thing, and I would have got halfway through the ropes, then I would have stopped, turned, looked back at him, and then slowly made my way back over to see whether I was going to drop that elbow gimmick or whatever. Then I would have shook his hand, and that would have been the out. Because he tried to get him to shake his hand earlier, and he wouldn't. Instead, he did the move, laid down next to him. Looked like he was jerking him off with a handshake. I think he should have made that more of a pronounced, hey, motherfucker, just in case you didn't know who the fuck I am, I'm shaking your hand now.
A moment, as we say in storytelling. Make it a moment.
And there's always, like I say, there's always those moments, man, and that's the difference between good and great. So next time, just, people used to always say, fucking, I hate, why are you grabbing a hold? Guess what, man? If you grab a fucking hold on somebody, the only person they can talk about is you. They're not calling.
Commentary, you mean?
Yeah, they're not fucking calling 55. If you're nonstop doing a bunch of bullshit, they can't just talk about you. They can't talk about how handsome you are, how great fucking you. They can't put you over. If you fucking got somebody and they're selling, all they can do is they got to talk about you.
Or read a fucking Doritos spot like they do so many times when the action is.
Or go picture on a picture. So you right. I'm just gonna hit that X4 on that until it fucking goes back until no picture on a picture.
Well, let me remind everyone, Kliq This is a production of Butch and Sundance Media, produced in association with Podcast Heat and Hyde Park Steakhouse. Created by Tristan Nash, Kevin Nash, Sean Oliver, producer Steve Kaufman, graphics by Dominic D'Angelo, title sequence and audio edit by Wesley Burleson, theme song by Dale Oliver, technical research by Tristan Nash, copyright 2023, Kev. Butch and Sundance Media. Kev, want to do another one from a different restaurant?
Only if we don't tip up and fucking at our next spot. That was a golden moment right there. That was like
I couldn't allow you to do it.
We'll never have it. We'll never have that moment.
Never have it again.
It's gone forever.
Proving what I've always said, I am not one of the boys.
You're one of the boys. You're just.
I'm office.
No, you're
in Rotunda.
I just think that it's. because I've been me my whole life.
I don't want to be you. I don't want to be you.
I know that. I know that. Just because I've been me my whole life, I think that if my job is to wait, is to serve somebody, and I don't just shit the bed, but I mean, it's like I shit the bed and then I go in the bathroom and get your toothbrush to clean it. It's like it's a compound, one thing after another after another. It's just like, at what point? It's like, I would have just as soon, but it was too late. Like, I would have left. I would have left on the fucking, with a bottle of wine gun. I would have left when he came back and said, we don't have those either. It's a fucking steakhouse, but we don't have steaks. And then we're the dicks for having an attitude. Fuck that. God damn, man. It was just like, that will go down in my life as me. That was I have never in my life.
Oh my God.
I've never in my life fucking.
You're making it's like you're making it like Auschwitz.
Oh no, it was very Daily Plaza, put it that way. Right. It will go down. It will go down. The Warren Commission will fucking talk about that fucking meal for 10 years.